What truly breaks a person first? Is it the moment everything they love is ripped away? Or is it the silence afterward when the world expects them to stand tall and move on as if nothing happened? For Common, the answer was never simple. His life has always existed in the space between loss and hope, survival and reflection, long before awards, applause, and global recognition. His story was written in grief, resilience, and unanswered questions. Behind the calm wisdom he carries today lives a young boy who learned far too early that life can disappear without warning. Born Lonnie Rashid Lynn Jr., Common was raised on the south side of Chicago, a place where beauty and danger often share the same street corner. It was a city pulsing with energy, creativity, and culture, but also burdened by systemic neglect and violence. The soundtrack of his childhood wasn't just music. It was the constant hum of buses, the distant echo of sirens, basketballs pounding against cracked concrete, and voices shouting through open windows. Rhythm lived everywhere, yet beneath that rhythm was loss. His father, an accomplished former athlete, was frequently absent. He drifted in and out of Common's life, leaving his mother to shoulder the responsibility of raising him alone. Absence left a quiet Aquan that didn't scream but lingered. Watching his mother struggle taught him strength, but it also planted questions about identity, abandonment, and self-worth that would later surface in his art. Growing up in Chicago meant witnessing the fragility of life firsthand. Friends disappeared not because they moved away, but because violence took them before their dreams could fully form. Funerals became disturbingly familiar. Each one served as a reminder that time wasn't guaranteed and that survival was never evenly distributed. One loss, in particular, shattered something deep inside him. When one of his closest childhood friends was killed, the world seemed to pause. There is a kind of grief that doesn't fade. It hums in the background of your life, demanding either transformation or destruction. For Common, that grief demanded meaning. He didn't turn to writing to chase fame. He turned to it to breathe. Words became his refuge. Lyrics became a form of prayer. Every verse he wrote was an act of resistance, a declaration that his life and the lives he'd lost mattered. Music wasn't entertainment at first. It was survival. It was how he processed anger, sorrow, guilt, and hope all at once. But surviving trauma is only the beginning. Turning that survival into purpose is a far harder journey. When Common entered the hip-hop world of the early 1990s, the industry wasn't exactly waiting for a thoughtful, introspective voice. The era was dominated by flash, bravado, and commercial appeal. The culture celebrated excess, confidence, and instant success. Common walked into that environment with something different: stories about community, self-awareness, and emotional honesty. Record labels didn't quite know what to do with him. Executives wanted radio-friendly hooks and predictable formulas. Common wanted to talk about real people, real pain, and real accountability. He wasn't interested in diluting his message to fit industry trends. That refusal came at a cost. While others rose quickly to fame, Common struggled for visibility. His work was respected, even admired, but not always supported. Meetings ended with subtle suggestions that he tone things down or make his music more marketable. The pressure to conform was relentless. He stood his ground. Integrity mattered more than airplay. Truth mattered more than sales. Still, that decision wasn't easy. Rejection weighs heavily, especially when you're trying to survive financially while staying true to yourself. Nights blurred into internal battles: ambition versus authenticity, success versus self-respect. As his career developed, tragedy continued to follow him. More friends from his youth were lost to the same streets he barely escaped. With each loss came survivors' guilt, a quiet, persistent question that fame could never silence. Why him? Why did he get to leave while others didn't? On stage, he smiled. Off stage, the applause echoed with something bittersweet. Every achievement reminded him of voices that would never be heard. Music gave him purpose, but it also carried the weight of remembrance. Love, too, became complicated. As his public profile grew, so did the scrutiny of his personal life. Romantic relationships unfolded under the glare of headlines and gossip. Column's breakups weren't private moments of healing, but they were dissected for public consumption. While most people grieve quietly, Common was expected to move forward gracefully on camera. Fame has a way of magnifying everything. Joy becomes brighter, but pain cuts deeper. Behind red carpets and sold-out venues, anxiety quietly followed. Him the responsibility of representing his community, speaking on justice, and maintaining inner peace often collided. There were tours where sleep was rare and exhaustion blurred the line between passion and burnout. Moments when the applause from the night before felt hollow the next morning. He learned, painfully, that success can weigh just as heavily as failure if it isn't grounded in wellness. Eventually, he realized something crucial. Strength doesn't mean ignoring pain, it means facing it honestly. Instead of breaking under pressure, Common searched for tools to heal. Therapy was never a weakness to him, it was survival. Meditation, yoga, and reconnecting with his roots became anchors. Returning to Chicago reminded him why he started not for fame, but for healing. He turned inward and then outward. Activism became a natural extension of his journey. He encouraged others to look within, to seek help, and to understand that vulnerability is not failure. Still, the industry wasn't always kind to a man preaching introspection in a culture driven by ego. Public conflicts, including a well-known feud with Ice Cube, briefly shifted the narrative. What began as artistic disagreement became media spectacle. Instead of letting bitterness take hold, Common chose reflection. He recognized the deeper issues beneath the conflict: miscommunication, pride, and the ways masculinity can divide, rather than unite. When the tension faded, respect replaced rivalry. He emerged more grounded, more self-aware. His 1997 album, One Day It'll All Make Sense, received critical praise, but failed to achieve massive commercial success. The disappointment stung, but it also reaffirmed his values. He realized that timeless art often outlives chart positions. Then came a turning point in 2005. His collaboration with Kanye West marked a rebirth. The music felt alive again, rich with soul, honesty, and renewed purpose. That project didn't just win awards, it restored belief. It proved that patience and authenticity still mattered. Opportunities expanded beyond music. Acting entered his life unexpectedly, but naturally. Roles in films like Selma and John Wick. Chapter 2 revealed new dimensions of his talent. He wasn't just a rapper stepping into Hollywood, he was a storyteller finding new forms. The transition wasn't easy. He auditioned, failed, and tried again, constantly proving that he belonged. Persistence paid off. Yet even as his career flourished, old wounds resurfaced. The absence of his father, the losses of his youth, the emotional scars he'd carried, quietly all demanded attention. Common began speaking openly about forgiveness, particularly toward his father. That conversation wasn't neat or simple. It was raw, vulnerable, and deeply human. It revealed an uncomfortable truth. Success doesn't erase pain. You can achieve every dream and still carry wounds no award can heal. As time passed, Common's life grew larger than entertainment. Music and acting became chapters, not the whole story. Through the Common Ground Foundation, he invested in young people facing the same challenges he once did: poverty, violence, broken homes, and hopelessness. He offered mentorship, education, and belief. Each success story from the foundation felt personal, a continuation of his own redemption. He understood how powerful it is when someone believes in you, especially in a world determined to convince you that your dreams are impossible. Despite his accomplishments, humility remains at his core. When Common speaks about resilience, it doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds lived in. He knows what it's like to carry grief so deeply it reshapes your posture. He knows healing isn't a single moment, it's thousands of small choices made consistently, even now.